everyone, and welcome to another new user Q&A. I'm Murray Maloney, and my co-host is Stephen Greenwood.
Hey, everybody.
I'm a former technical writer. I guess I still am a technical writer, and I've been here on WikiTree for about 5 years. And Stephen has been here a lot longer than I have, and he is a wiki expert. He's been working with wiki forever. He knows everything about wiki, and so you want to figure out how to do things inside your wiki. This is the guy.
Now, I'll clarify. WikiTree has only been 5 years for me.
Oh, okay. I thought it was
so
longer.
we'll say we're about the same on WikiTree.
Okay.
Other wikis, yeah, I mean, there's extra experience involved with those.
Yeah.
But I don't want to claim that I know everything. I'm always still learning. That's the great thing about these sessions, is that there are still things that I don't know about too, right? So yeah, I welcome everybody here to this first one in May of 2025. Thanks again for joining. Betsy couldn't be with us, for personal reasons, and so we're going to be helming the ship today, answering your questions, and anyone at home could follow along and watch this after we get it posted to YouTube. So let us know if you have any burning desires, any questions. I think we currently have a merge that we're looking at, so we're probably going to be doing that first. Something that Murray has pulled up on his screen. So,
That's true.
take it away, Murray.
Okay, so let's look at that. Let's admit somebody first. There we go. And
I'm going to let somebody in the waiting room here into the call.
And so let's see. So we have this person, and we're going to grab her ID. Now, Anne, you said that you thought there was a merge pending between these two people. But when I go down to the bottom, I see that there's no pending merges or unmerged matches. There are a bunch of rejected matches. But none of them are the person that you were mentioning, who is this person, Mary Reed Frost DeFries, born in 1803 to 1895. She has no pending merges. She has a rejected merge, and it's with a DeFries.
It's the other one.
That's a rejected match. So
yes, a rejected match. Yes,
and that was done back in 2019.
Yeah. So there's no evidence here of a pending merge. So I'm not sure what, and I'm not confident that these are in fact the two people that you want to merge. So let's look at this again. 1803 to 95. And 1803 to 95. Okay, Rowan County. NC. Parents unknown.
You want to put them in compare mode, right?
Yeah.
That'll allow you to see them both at the same time.
So that would be. So I would propose a merge.
They are absolutely a match. Okay, they are absolutely to be merged. Yeah.
Okay. So let's get back down here, and we will initiate a merge.
Okay. And if you need that other number again,
I've got it in my. There it is. Yeah.
All right. So the higher number will go to the smaller number.
Yep. And so now we'll do a compare.
All right.
1803 to 95.
That's looking good to me.
Different birth date, but
slightly that could be offset because of the stone. Sometimes the gravestone's offset from the actual death date.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, same places. The places, the Rowan County is the same. Was that Marylsbury? That was the same.
Ah, I see. So this one has only one husband, whereas this one has two.
But that person, James, should share both. Go ahead. Sorry.
I just haven't finished her out, but he's descended from one of her children, and I'm descended from another. So we know without doubt that it's the same person.
Okay.
And I just asked for a merger and tried to do it myself and couldn't. That's why it doesn't show, I guess. I wasn't able to do it.
Well, let's go look at the, there, no, that's not it. There it is.
Who becomes the project manager then, David or me?
Both.
Okay,
You share project management.
okay. This is my picture. He has a better picture of her than I do, but
And they would both appear. So everything
Well,
that
he-
is on both
Yeah.
would get mashed together in some way.
he hasn't put his
Okay.
in yet, though.
Okay, so I can suggest the merge,
Please,
but it's not going to do that just because I ask.
no.
Let's say merge them. And I'm going to say Beverly has been trying to get this merge through.
Without success.
Please confirm the merge and she will complete it.
Mm-hmm. So now the other person will see this reason.
Okay, you're talking to the other project manager, David? Yeah,
Well, it's to both of you.
It's going to send them
This
an
is going to go to
email with
both
that
of you because
information. Yeah, he should get an email with that, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
so
you
you
would
should.
also get an email too.
Yep. So you should be getting a notice any moment now that a merge has been proposed, and he will get one, and then you should be able to proceed.
Yeah, all we can do is just wait.
okay.
And now that new
This
comment appears at the bottom too.
So he must
Yes.
respond before it can happen, right? He must respond.
Oh, he must do something. He doesn't have to respond. He doesn't have to write you a note or anything. But as long as when he gets the notice, he proceeds and does what he needs to do, then you'll be notified, and then
Okay.
you'll be able to proceed to do what you need to do.
All right, sounds
That
good.
makes sense?
Yeah.
Now I have another question. Are both profiles open profiles, or is one of them a different color?
I think they're both open, yeah. This is mine
Okay.
right there.
Because Def was 1895, so that would, yeah. Gotta find it.
Also, what happens if the other one does not respond? For how long do you have to
After
wait?
30 days.
Okay.
After 30 days, it happens. Anyway.
No, it doesn't happen. It now it's the time to object has expired. You may now proceed with the merge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then you can override that. Vic was also asking, how long has the other person been active, the other profile manager?
Well, it looks like he put this up a couple years ago. I don't know why that didn't show up when I entered Mary. It should have said, had me matched right then and there, but somehow she got, maybe because he added the Polly as a nickname, maybe that threw it off. I
It
don't
could have
know.
been just enough, yeah, to throw it off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's only made 120 contributions.
Yeah, and I've made thousands right now.
Yeah, he let's see, he joined in 2022
Right.
and he's made 120 contributions. So he's not very active.
No.
And so you might have to wait for the month, right?
Well, I'll send
So
an email and ask him, please, to okay. He had told me,
Yeah.
go ahead and do it, but
okay.
Right, well, he's still going to get the email from this too.
Yeah.
It's sending it out to him with that notification.
right.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, cool. Well, that's
Thank you for helping.
Patricia looks like she's puzzled.
What did you say?
Sorry. Patricia looks like she is puzzled at the moment.
Oh, well, I have been puzzled by WikiTree for many moons.
It happens.
well, tell us what puzzles you the most, and we can look into that.
I have a bit of a question. I'm very much a beginner.
Okay.
I used a GEDCOM file to dump over much of my family tree information, and a lot of it looks really good, but there's a bunch of stuff I don't know what it is, sort of garbagey sort of stuff.
That would
Sort
be
of looks
GEDCOM junk.
Yeah, we call it
do I get
GEDCOM
rid of,
junk.
do I delete it? Maybe you could take a look at it, maybe help me decide what it is.
Yeah. Do you have a profile ID we can look at?
Yeah, Rampody9.
So your last name, number 9?
Yes.
Okay. Are you pulling it up, Murray?
I am, but you go ahead.
I could. Okay, 1 second. All right, let's just do a search for that.
You guys didn't tell them why Betsy was not with you.
Well, that's you. Okay. Let me go back to show. I'm going to share my screen here. Pulling up your page, Don.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to share it. All right, can everybody see that?
Yep.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so we're on Don's page. So
I understand the biography section.
you yourself don't have GEDCOM junk on your profile, do you?
I think I do. Go down below, biography section. That looks great. That part all looks.
Oh yeah, this is starting to look more like
but
one.
Then,
yeah.
Sources, I don't really understand how they list it, but I believe them all. That's fine. There's 21 sources. And then this section that's Rampony Dawn personal recollection.
Get these types of links, this M22524 that's trying to attribute to a source. Yeah. Right, and then go ahead.
This one this
Don, where'd this all come from?
My family tree maker, GEDCOM, I exported.
Okay.
Okay, so it was on Family Tree Maker.
Yes.
And then you ported it over to WikiTree. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, the main thing is that it's using these individual source numbers to identify this particular source. But it's not easy to refer to it in the text because when it gives the source number, it doesn't. I think it might have an inline citation heads back to it, but it doesn't really tell us, what it is. Like if I highlight over 16, well, yeah, then it says source, S4083, and then U. So it's using personal information. But again, yeah, baptismal certificate. Now, if I click on it, yeah, it does go to baptismal certificate. It does go to that. So the inline citations are working, I guess. These could be a lot worse. I know I've definitely seen GEDCOM junk that's, doesn't even have information about what they are, or it's just so convoluted. This link we could probably take out because it's just linking to a person named Rampone, comma Don, which doesn't exist. And you just kind of want to link to yourself. So we could just remove that. Whatever this is, estimate only. I'd probably want to clarify what that is. But you have a lot of different sources here that are unique, like yearbooks and graduations and address directories. I mean, so like if this was another person, this would be amazing to have on their profile. Obviously, it's a lot easier to research yourself because you're living and you know what your life is like. Would I be able to edit your profile at all? Or at least go into edit mode?
Sure.
I think it still allows me to do that. No, of course not.
No,
of course not. I can't edit your profile.
Personal.
You're a user. So I got to find a good example of GEDCOM junk somewhere else. And is it possible that one of your ancestors might have the same thing going on?
The same sort of information, these extra information? Yes, not as much as mine. Mine has more garbage than anything.
Right. So is there any of your profiles that are open, meaning that they have the bar or the lock that is white circled? That means that anybody can just go in and edit it without having to get permission, be on the trusted list.
His father.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll click on Albert here.
Yeah. Okay.
Who was deceased, and sorry, condolences and
But
everything.
he doesn't have any GEDCOM junk though.
Right. So we might want to keep going here. Oh, this would be great for Chris, who is in Project Italy. Like he would be all over this. Asti, Piedmont, Italy. Um, okay, so we're
Why
seeing
do you
that
do
there's some
that?
sources here, some Ancestry out of Canada. I mean, they're okay. I might make some small changes to that, but not really seeing Jedcom junk.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Your
Great
great
grandfather.
grandfather, right?
Yeah.
So this one's certainly Jedcomy, with a lot of those links after the name. Confirm the name. Yeah. Oh, wow! Look at all those files at the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay,
What are all those things? Those M.
they're sources. Those are all sources because every one of these files attributes to the family tree maker, and then it links. It shows at the bottom certificate and defeasible title, courier newspaper article, familysearch.org from ellisisland.org. So yeah, all of these different things are sources, but it's not attributing these numbers directly in the text. It makes it really complicated to see
So
what we're
sorry to get
talking
rid of them.
about.
Is there any use of having him on here?
We still want to keep everything attached, but when we do the automatic JEDCOM cleanup, it should read a little bit more like a narrative. So then we'll get away from this weird system of, notes and stats and looking like this, and it should read more like an actual paragraph and an actual narrative. I mean, so is it okay if I try it out on this profile?
Please. Yeah.
Okay, and he is open, so privacy level is be unlocked there.
Because right now it looks like useless information to me.
Right. And again, that's kind of the whole point of that app or that extension, which you may or may not have on your end. I am using the WikiTree browser extension, so I'm trying to remember if that is available to people who are not using the extension. Can you confirm that, Murray?
Wait, what's the question now? Which
Does the AGC appear for everybody or only those with the extension?
only with the extension?
Okay. So one of the things you'll want to do is download the WikiTree browser extension to have access to this button. It's called AGC, or Automatic JEDCOM Cleanup. Okay? And it's going to appear on profiles that have JEDCOM junk. It will identify through the power of AI, I suppose, and then that button will appear.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Can you just tell me where that is, where I download that from?
Murray, would you like to take over on that?
I'll just send. I'll put a link in the chat.
Uh-huh.
That will give you all the information you need. But you should carry on, Stephen.
Okay, and I can't see the chat at the moment since I'm in full screen mode and
Sure.
everything's aside. So yeah, when you do get that, then this button would appear on a JEDCOM profile, assuming it identifies JEDCOM junk. And when we look at the edit mode and we can see what these refs are doing, I mean, they are trying to link to something. A lot of these are running into that paywall. So like we got searchancestry.com/CGI bin. That's telling me that it's just going to run into a paywall. So we don't actually have a citation that goes anywhere. It might just run into something that somebody has to pay for. So that might be an opportunity in the future to find alternative places for those sources to exist. It looks like some of these do exist. Collectionscanada.gc.ca. So maybe those might be okay. But like the residence thing here, yeah, that might not go anywhere. And again, you go down the list. All these ref names and these sources appear to be attributing to something, but then it's unclear like what the data is that it's trying to cite. Right? It's a mess. So take a look at this. And maybe say goodbye to it because we're going to try to do something with it. Yeah, that's a lot of longitudes.
Yeah.
And actually, if you ever want to go back and see it, of course, you go and edit history. So you could see the change that I made versus the last version.
Okay.
And you'll know exactly what that did. Okay? So I'm going to click on Automatic JEDCOM Cleanup, that button. And wow, look at that. Already we got some narrative happening here. Luigi was born on February 28th, 1854, and links to this OpenStreetMap place. And then Taco, Asti, Piedmont, Italy, and then uses the BC death registration headstone right there as, I mean, it's not really an inline source, but
No,
say
this
ref
is
name
my
and employment.
early work. Yeah.
Yeah, so something's getting moved around here a little bit. It's like treating this as if it's already been dropped in the text somewhere, but it's coming back and citing it. So we'll see what happens. And yeah, it looks like all these locations basically have OpenStreetMap links to them, so people can find these things in France and New York and so forth. But it looks like it's going chronologically. Saying like when he's 27, he married this woman in 1882. There's a little note indicating there's some missing source information, so like it's pulling up some discrepancy stuff. And then 1892, he's employed, Italy. Keep going down. He's getting older. He's 44, 45, 46. So this is a nice chronological order that it's put it in. And every year, wow. I mean, most of us in America just get like every 10. We don't get to see it like, every one because we don't have a directory. And yeah, all the way at the bottom here, 65. He's living on the ranch. 60, 73. Wow, this is highly thorough. Yeah, and then we get to his death right here at 79 in 1933 and where he was buried. And that's, again, kind of linking for Ancestry, but we might be able to use, like, to find a grave just for this, the location of the burial. So, like, that's a particular usage, for, that I treat just for find a grave only on burial and not for death. And then you'll see that it's created some additional sections here. It's done research notes. And it created a subsection of that saying there's a fact that doesn't have a date. So there's a photo here that doesn't have a date associated with it. So kind of put that to the side.
How do I tell what photo? Can I tell what photo that is? I can click on that.
I mean, if the photo is attached to, say, this profile, then you're going into the photo options. You're going into photo details and providing that information. So it might not see it from this end because it still probably is attributing that photo to the GEDCOM. But like as long as, yes, Denise?
I can't find out what photo that actually is, that M2150.
Yeah,
Okay.
since you're using Family Tree Maker, you've got two options. You've used Family Tree Maker, which means you're syncing with Ancestry.
Right.
So you can look at this person's profile in Ancestry and look at the gallery of photos. It looks like you may only have one. But that would be your option. Or you can go to Family Tree Maker and look at his profile in Family Tree Maker and see what photos you've got attached.
Well, I've got lots of them. So how do I know which one this is, the 2150?
Search for 2150.
Okay, so they're labeled that way. Okay.
Well,
Those
there
are-
are some labels. We saw some labels in the file.
Yeah.
One of them is bound to be 2150.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, we may have to go farther down the page to see what that is.
Why don't you go to preview?
Yeah, I will do that. So I'll go for all this unclassified stuff. I just wanted to indicate that it also created an alternative name section here, and issues to be checked. So like it generates this comment, and when you've looked at everything, then you can take this section out. So like it's not seeing a source with this particular ID or this particular ID. So again, I don't know what's happening. But let's look at preview. Okay. Oh, also really quick, it does automatically put this text in for your edit summary, saying that you did reformat it for this, with this version.
Thank you.
Okay. So again, in terms of the TOC, the table of contents, it puts the biography at the top. Research notes then has a whole bunch of subsections, and then it has the sources section, right? So all of these links, remember they went to those OpenStreetMap links, so that's why they're all in green. And it does have those inline citations, which I guess when we highlight over them, and it is freaking out. I don't know why it's doing that. Yeah, so like this marriage citation, then it says, you're missing the source ID. And citing, shows Luigi's father was Domenico, grandfather was Giuseppe. So all that text was sort of built into that citation. Everything that we read before is just, going to the bottom as the source citation here.
Okay, looking much better.
But yeah, I mean, again, this is chronological, and we can even break this up into our own sections within the biography. So like you could break them up into 10-year sections or 20-year sections. So it's just easier to navigate, right? I do that on some of my profiles of my ancestors. They have a lot of data. Because a lot of this is also repetitious data as well. There might even be a way to put this into table format because a lot of it's the same. But yeah, again, what we were talking about, like it just identified that one photo. It had an issue with that. It's saying that these other sources didn't have any facts or dates, so you can look at those. And then the actual sources themselves, this is what's displaying in the inline citation area. So, I mean, it's as cleaned up as we're going to get it right now until you make changes on your end, to clarify like what some of those sources are, maybe use different sources, and you can replace the text in the inline citations for those. Eventually, I think the goal would be to, get away from anything that's an internal citation for the family tree maker, and actually, link to stuff that anybody could find on the website, right?
Okay.
So would it be okay if I save this profile?
Sure, please.
Okay. So I'm going to keep this just reformatted by the extension version. And why aren't you letting me save it? That's weird. Hey, I want to save this thing.
Didn't click the box.
Okay, let me save the draft.
What we did.
Okay.
Are you on the trusted list?
I thought this was an open profile.
That's true. It is an open profile.
Explain the change.
I thought that didn't.
Yeah,
matter.
you
Okay.
can.
Hold on.
Can, Steve. Yeah, you can probably just.
Yeah, I needed to take the space out. Yeah, because it automatically put that in there, and if I didn't type anything else new, it acts as if I didn't have put anything in there. So.
Yeah.
Funny, fun. Okay, good.
And something new every day.
Like I said, yeah, we learn things too. I do not expect to be the purveyor of all known information on the internet. There's no way. But yeah, here's the photo that we talked about. That's sitting over here. I mean, if we click on it, we can click on details. Here, details is at the bottom. And this is going to open up its own page, right? This doesn't have a date or a location. If you wanted to add that information here, then that error might go away.
Yes, I even started to do that. Yes, I noticed that after. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, it's good that we have his name and we know where it came from, but yeah, we don't have anything indicating its time frame or its location, which again can be very hard to do. But you could estimate a potential date just based on his, life. Like, imagine that, was he 60 or 70 here in this photo?
Maybe
even
not.
Younger?
Probably younger. Probably say 40s.
Okay, so 40-year-old, right? And so if he was born in, let's see, let's close that X. Yeah, if he was born in 1854, then that would be about 1890, Victorian era, which kind of makes sense for the dress that he's, for the outfit that he's wearing, right?
Yeah. I've got a hunch that maybe his photo when he came here in 1893.
Okay. Yeah. So like as close as you can get it, you can say approximately. It doesn't have to be right on the money. You could just, say within a couple of years of whatever date you believe it to be. And at least that'll get that. And if you know it's in North America, then whatever that location is. Yeah, because he died in Kelowna, British Columbia. So you said it was after his immigration, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, so you can do that, and then just test it and see if the article changes, to that change, see if it responds to that. But
I see. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
And like I was kind of pointing out earlier, again, you can go into your changes to profile and see, what I did, right? So it'll show you your version, and then it'll show you my version side by side.
I like yours.
Well, yeah. I
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll back out of that then, if that's answered your questions.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So Don, I've got a couple of questions for you.
Those are a lot of comments in the chat.
How many people have you brought over from Family Tree Maker over into WikiTree? Using the,
I don't know.
Well, guess. I mean, 10
how
or
many people I import? Okay,
100?
sorry. Yes, sorry. There's about 15 or 20.
Okay.
So I started with my dad's side, then went to my mom's side, which goes back 1500. So there's quite a few more people on that side.
Okay. Now, do you have a lot more that you need to add that are still in Family Tree Maker?
There are a lot, potentially lots.
Okay, so
much.
I want to talk to you about a different strategy.
Okay.
And really, it depends on how you use Family Tree Maker. Okay. The way that I use Family Tree Maker is I mostly just bring stuff over from Ancestry. Right. I don't do much actual editorial work in Family Tree Maker. And
Okay.
I don't, take pictures and add them in Family Tree Maker. Is that the way you work, or do
No,
you
I do all
actually?
my work with that. I do all my work in Family Tree Maker, and I have tons of pictures. That's my thing. I really love photographs, and
Okay.
I sync it to Ancestry. So I don't do anything in Ancestry itself.
Okay. But you do sync it to Ancestry.
Yes.
Yes. And
Yes.
so and so all the pictures are in both places.
No, I've privatized most photographs except the profile picture,
Okay.
on
Okay. Fair
Ancestry.
enough. And so what's your success rate been on bringing those pictures over from Family Tree Maker? Has that been working for you?
No, I think I've added the pictures separately.
Okay, that's what I would have thought. Okay, so now let's talk about the bringing over the data. So on Ancestry, there's a tool that you can use called WikiTree Sourcer, and I put the URL into the chat. And Sourcer is a way that you can just go to an Ancestry profile and say, grab all these citations. There might be census, there might be birth certificates, there are birth records, baptisms, you name it. There's a whole list of them there, and it'll grab them all, and then you can paste them into a WikiTree profile. Now, I'm mentioning this because, the trip that you're taking using the GEDCOM, it's less reliable, less well, you end up with not as good results, and you don't have links that you can connect to. Right? Your most of your sources are saying, oh yeah, you can find it on this file in Family Tree Maker if you happen to have that file on Family Tree Maker, right? But for anybody else in the world, they can't find it. They can say, okay, well, I know Don has it, but I don't. So I just want to point that out to you that you can bring all the sources that you find on Ancestry over easily from Ancestry using Sourcer, and it'll
That
save
may,
you the step of
yeah,
going through
I
the
believe
GEDCOM
that's changed.
process.
My first years of doing this work on Family Tree Maker, I didn't put the links in for my sources.
Okay.
And lately I have. The last few years I have definitely putting all the ULRs in and the links, so that anything that I've done the last few years is much, much clearer. But I think that's why mine has so few things, had so much junk in it, because that's where I started.
All right.
So thank you, though. I will check out that Ancestry route. Yeah.
Rachel just posted a new comment asking, does the sorcerer work with root magic too?
I don't know that it does. I don't know. Let me go look at that. You keep busy with something, and I'll go look at that.
Oh, okay.
Sites.
So there was in the chat room, somebody asked, are all the photos from OpenStreetMaps? Well, what is OpenStreetMaps?
Those are the links to, well, OpenStreetMap is a mapping service, right? It's similar to, Google Map, Bing Map. It uses different data, but it looked like all of those links were going to the coordinates for those locations. So like if you clicked on it, it would show you the city that they were talking about.
Yeah, the
from
other
Family Tree Maker.
pictures, or some of the pictures, were to certificates on his great grandfather.
And yeah, I'm catching up on the chat because again, I couldn't see the chat when I was sharing. Sorry, people are screaming at me.
Yeah. No, I can't find that on the list.
Oh, maybe this is a request to maybe get it added. That would be a new avenue, or maybe. I don't know. Any more GEDCOM type questions? Since those seem to come up quite often, and they seem to be the gnarliest things to deal with.
Yeah.
Murray, did you mean that it won't, that the sorcerer won't work with Roots Magic?
It doesn't seem to be in the list of
Okay, that's fine.
places
I
it
just,
looks.
okay, that's fine. I was just curious.
But they're always taking
Hmm.
recommendations. I mean, these guys are magic makers that are putting these apps together for us. So
Yeah.
if they see a need or a need for it, or there's high interest in it, then come maybe Hacktoberfest, there might be a way to get it added to it.
Yeah.
So there's always a possibility, right, Murray?
And there sure is.
Yeah.
I mean, man, last couple of years, the stuff that's changed on WikiTree has just been astounding.
It's made us more
I have a
efficient.
question.
Yeah.
I'm brand new. I just joined in the 5th of May. And so I'm like,
Congrats.
and I'm a visual learner rather than a reading learner. And I downloaded, I have 2 very large family trees on Ancestry, one for my hillside, one for my husband's side. And I downloaded the hillside and I don't know how to even start. I mean, I looked at the compares, but do I set up my own like profile down to where I meet up with a match, or how do I even begin?
I mean, honestly, my approach is to just do this by hand, because there may be a lot of those profiles that are duplicates in WikiTree. If you have a giant GEDCOM and you're going for your like 5,000 entries and a lot of them already exist on WikiTree, you might be taking your extra time than you need to. So I would say you want to start with yourself and branch out as far as you can, because then at that point you're verifying the information profile by profile, and you know the information to be accurate as you're citing it, right?
Right.
And you can at least attach yourself into the tree, and then maybe there's a potential later on if you wanted to work on you wanted to go laterally and you wanted to add the rest of that GEDCOM, maybe you could do it. But I still feel like I personally just don't use GEDCOMs, because I want to have full control over the profiles I'm adding and not having to constantly clean everything up, and verify. But that's my approach. Everybody's different on WikiTree.
So let me put it differently to you, Lee. Is it Lee Rose? Lee Rose. Let me put it to you differently. If you add people by using the GEDCOM approach, it's going to take longer than 10 minutes per person to do it, because you've got to go through all the matching and okay. Now, I was in the software industry since 1985, and I'll tell you, that whole GEDCOM compare nonsense, it's just ridiculous. Okay, just don't do that. Now, I understand why many years ago GEDCOM was the only way to do anything, and we had to struggle through that, but we're not there anymore. Okay, this is the new world. This is 2025. Just give it up. Forget about GEDCOM. It's
Murray, you don't have to
nonsense.
be so brash about it.
Well, come on. Let's not waste time. I mean,
I was trying to be
we're
nice.
we're mincing words, but really, come on.
It really
I'm
is outdated, isn't it?
I'm a software professional. I think it's just stupid. Okay. The easy thing to do is just go get yourself a copy of Sorcerer and just go to each profile, and you've done all the work on Ancestry. It's all there. And and the other thing is, once you've got a source, okay, once you've found something that you like, you can go and check and see if it's available on Family Search instead. Okay, because that's not a pay site. So you get, so the sources that you can only have on Ancestry, you use those ones. And the ones that you can find also on Family Search, use those ones, right? But you can do that. Like one of the guys in the Newt team, okay, Betsy has this team of Newts who work on what do they call those?
New to WikiTree, Newt.
Yeah, new to WikiTree. So he's got it down to, he can create a profile a minute.
Whoa.
Yeah, whoa, right? Now I don't do that. I take my time. I think Stephen takes his time too. But
I get an average of 10 profiles a thon. That's how slow I am.
but if you want to be really speedy, you can do it, okay? If you've got your profiles all lined up, you're sitting in Ancestry and you say, okay, I'm going to start now. And you say, okay, grab everything about this person, and it
Show us
grabs it.
grab. Show us how to grab. I did it once by mistake and I have no idea how to do it again.
Well, let me see if I can create a new person anywhere.
So should we get to Denise's hand first before we jump into that?
Say that again.
Denise has her hand up. I just wanted to address
Oh, okay. Yeah.
that she still
Sorry.
had a question.
Yes, Denise.
I was just for Lee Rose and everyone else. I have to totally agree with Murray. And
Thank you, Denise.
I too used to work in IT. And over the years, one of my many responsibilities was to see how long it took to do a simple task. And I'm going to tell you, using GEDCOM will just eat you alive. It takes a long time to do. And if you just use the sorcerer like Murray and Steve were suggesting, you would really cut your time literally in half, if not more than that, because it's a lot easier to pull it from Family Search or pull it from Ancestry using the sorcerer than it is to work through the GEDCOM matches and then do the cleanup afterwards. So we have the tools there because there was at one time where that's the only way you could pass data from one application to another. But now, like Murray said, that's it's outdated now, especially with all the enhancements that we've made on WikiTree. You really don't need to use that GEDCOM anymore.
Which is unfortunate for all the people who worked so hard on their GEDCOMs on Ancestry and everything,
Thank you.
And spend so much time.
Comment.
But yeah.
Go ahead.
A large, and I had Family Tree Maker, so I not by GEDCOM and by fourth generation I would pull them in through.
Sorry, we're losing you, Beverly.
Yeah, you may have covered up your microphone.
I'm sorry. Are you okay now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I had all these sources. I started in 1966. So I have a lot of sources and a lot of people. I entered them. Now I have Sorcerer. So now I'm going back to link and inline reference everybody one by one. Started generation 1 and I'm back to generation 4, I think now. And doing siblings and spouses. So I'm really adding a lot of people. And I'm using that Sorcerer and it's wonderful. But I don't know how to grab.
Okay. So let's
I'm
let's
doing
have
the
some fun,
sources
okay?
one by one, and it's taking me more than a minute.
Yep. Let's go have some fun with that, okay? I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah. Now that Denise is, we allowed her to talk. And it's funny, you say that I'm the expert, and I mean, you've been doing programming as long as I've been alive. So
there we go.
At least in your neck of the woods, I would say yes, you have the authority on programming.
Well, no, not I wasn't much of a programmer. I was always more of a writer. I mean, I did some programming back in the day.
Okay.
And when I say back in the day, I was programming between 1978 and 1990.
Was that Fortran? C++?
Well, see, exactly. No, I was programming in BASIC and TROF and awk. Right? These are like really old ways of doing things. But anyway, here we are. We've got Luigi Rampone's page on WikiTree, okay?
But he doesn't have Sorcerer. Oh, he does have Sorcerer. Okay.
I do have Sorcerer.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go search Ancestry.
Is that Comic Sans you're using for the font?
Yeah, it is.
Of course it is. All the scientific documents should be in Comic Sans.
All right, so Luigi Celestino Giuseppe Rampone. That's the guy, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, there are 15 trees on Ancestry. And
they don't overlap?
The majority don't have any records, but there are 2 that have 5 records, and one of them, of course, is yours. So let's go to yours.
1854 to 1933. Yep, that is him. And there's the photo.
Okay. And there are the sources. Oh, look at that. He's got other sources, lots of other sources. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's cool. So it's not going to grab those. But let's see what it does grab, okay?
Oh, it's only going to grab Ancestry.
Well, I want to see the grab button.
Okay. So now I'm going to go up here. And I'm going to build all citations. Now, that's what I'm going to do right now. But if I had an empty, if I was going to create a new WikiTree profile, I would say instead, save person data. Save person data is going to get more information so that it can fill in all the fields in the WikiTree form.
Does it create the narrative too?
Yes, well, if you have it set up that way, and I do.
Okay.
So I'm gonna grab the sources. So see that it just did all that, and now I'm gonna go back to Luigi, and I'm gonna go in here, and I'm gonna find out what we've got. Okay. So let's just add some space here, and we'll see what we got. So.
Oh, it created a household table. Did you see
We've
that?
got, yeah, we'll get to there. He arrived in 1893, and he's on a passenger list. He's in a 1901 census in Canada. He's in a record in the Okanagan Mission, genealogy index. He's in a census again, and he died.
In-depth index.
And so you see, it took all those citations, and if I do a preview, see what they look like, and I can hover over that.
Oh my God.
And then there's
So
the household table that I created and put into the citation area.
That'll be in the sources. So there's the 1901 census. And there's the 1911 census. It's just Luigi on the 1911 one. Okay, you see what it did there? It grabbed the information, and now I can go back to, right? There's an Ancestry sharing link, and there's the Ancestry record. Now, if you have a subscription to Ancestry, then the record, you just jump to the record and you're good, right? You can see everything you need to see. If you don't have a subscription, you go to the sharing link. And it's something that you can look at, but you don't get all the extra information with it. Yes, Anne?
How long does the Ancestry sharing link stay on? Does it always stay on? Or is there a certain period that it stops?
I'm not aware of there being any period to it. It's just a sharing link.
I don't know that they expire.
Okay, it doesn't expire. Okay.
Unless they took the record off of Ancestry.
Okay.
Right. So
I was
now,
just wondering, thank you.
so that's grabbing a group, right? You can grab.
Okay, so I normally just went to the source, copied the source, and did it that way. So that was one.
Right.
button.
You can do one at a time.
Yeah.
Especially
when
if you
do
feel
one,
like the source isn't really valid. Like if you think that it's a questionable source, then you probably won't look at it individually.
Yeah, I just picked the best ones and did those because there are errors sometimes. So, okay.
Yeah, but you know what I find is I grab them all and then I walk through them.
Yeah.
And I get rid of the ones that I definitely don't want. And the questionable ones I put in research notes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. And somebody else has their hand up. Denise.
Yeah, regarding that Ancestry, how long that link will stay there. That link takes you directly to this specific tree in Ancestry. So as long as that tree is active, that link will be good. If Don ever decided to delete that tree, then the link is broken.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Well, that doesn't seem like a good situation.
Well, but I mean, that's what you're linking back to is that particular source. So if that tree disappears, or I shouldn't say disappears, if it's deleted. So that's the key. It's got to be deleted in Ancestry in order for that link to no longer be good. And then, of course, you'll get a suggestion on that. WikiTree will have a suggestion out there that says the link is broken.
Right.
So the data doctors will find it.
So Dawn, I'm going to move this into the research notes.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Yeah. So we identify where we got it.
and that way you can put it in place. You can put the things where you want them. And adding sources.
Beautiful.
Ancestry. And there you go. So now it's in there. And there they are.
Beautiful.
You can move them into place wherever you want. And
This is all using the sorcerer, right? How we started this?
Yep, Sorcerer.
And I have
Sorcerer and Ancestry.
And I have explored that a little while ago, but I had forgotten about that. Yes. Okay.
Now I should mention, by the way, that what you're seeing on the screen, just like Steve mentioned, he was using the WikiTree browser extension. So am I. And we're supposed to not use a WikiTree browser extension when we're doing stuff here on the new user Q&A, but sometimes we do.
Okay.
So just so you understand what you're seeing.
Or like I
looks a
forgot
little
to turn
different.
it off.
Yeah.
I'm just so used to it. I like having it available because it is so powerful. But that's cool. We learned about ancestry trees today too. We learned that if they're gone, your source is gone. So you might want to look for the source on a different website or a different location.
Yeah.
Family search.
Yeah.
Family search, yes.
And when you
Yes.
searched again, you said you saw 5 trees, or how many trees of that one person?
Wasn't there like 17 or 19 or something?
See, and there's the inefficiency right there. There's 19 trees or branches for the same person. And of course, WikiTree, we try our best to merge everything together so that there isn't 19 trees floating around, right? Or 19 branches.
The crazy thing about Ancestry for me was, working so hard on my tree and making sure I had it right, and then seeing other people's trees that had mistakes in them, and wanting to tell those people, hey, you've got a mistake.
And then they don't respond to you.
Well, you think about that. There's that cartoon that somebody did that said, "Oh, there's somebody made a mistake on the internet, and I've got to go tell them." We'd spend off of our lives doing that. But the thing was, you can work on your tree all you want on Ancestry. You're not really, nobody else is looking at it, right? You're not like except if somebody does a search and happens to bump into your tree. It doesn't matter how well you do.
Mm-hmm.
But here, we've got one tree and it's all better, all much better.
Well, there will just be a lot more interactivity with your branch or your side of the tree because, of the events that we have. Sometimes I'll find people working on the outer edges of, my CC7 because it's starting to float into other people's territory, right? When you get out to, 7 degrees away or 6 generations out, your cousins might be interacting with those same profiles. So, yeah, you will see their edits, you will see their changes when they come up in with the watch list or the the edits changes. So, but that just shows that it's true collaboration. Really, it's not an isolated thing and another isolated thing that will never touch. Like these actually do touch, and then we have the connection count and all the connection finders to show those relationships. Right. So.
Yes. Brilliant.
And yes, Rachel, we totally agree with you. We don't like mistakes. We like accuracy. We love sources. We're nerds.
A couple comments. Patty Havens says, I understood if you don't keep your membership, they will not keep your links attached. I think that's a myth, Patty. Again, as long as the tree is not deleted, even if you are no longer a member of Ancestry, the tree is still there. But Amanda is correct. If the tree is switched to private, you may also have a problem with the link.
again, it just seems like it sets up so many walls for difficulty in, the inability to link to things, the inability to cite things. And if you don't pay the money, then we'll withhold your information, right? And I have a big problem with that in the world of, free accessible information, especially when it's somewhere else on another site. So, I mean, yeah, that's my own personal beef, I guess, with the pay-to-play aspect of genealogy. But if, again, that's the only place the source is, then that's what we have to do until, otherwise it's posted somewhere else, right?
Yep.
So, these are all very important things for people who do have ancestry trees and profiles and everything. I think our best thing that we can do, at least on our end, is just to make sure the data is duplicated. So then if something does happen outside of WikiTree, at least it's still here, right? And maybe some, physical documents are found and, you can link to other sources. I see Sue has her hand up as well.
Yeah, on Ancestry, they actually have sources though too, right? Not just the ones on the trees. If you
Yes,
join Ancestry.
yes.
Yeah, there's lots of sources there.
So you could, is there a way that they could just link to the actual source instead of link to the one on the tree?
Sure. But if you're going to do that, you might as well go to Family Search, because Family
Right.
Search has even more sources than Ancestry does. Family Search has been doing this for years. They're part of Latter-day Saints, and they've been pulling this information together for a lot longer than Ancestry. So,
Right, and I'm too cheap to pay. So
That is completely
I
understandable.
don't know much about Ancestry.
yeah.
So look at it this way. There's census records that are available on both Ancestry and Family Search. Census records
Yes.
are technically works of the U.S. government. They should not be copywritten. No one should charge you to be able to access them. But Ancestry has a contract law that says, well, we can hold them, and then we'll charge you money to look at them on our end. At the same time, that data should be on Family Search and accessible there. So I guess the preference would be if the source exists in multiple locations, you'll want to go to the location where it doesn't have the paywall, right?
Yeah.
And
Although
then you can
sometimes
ahead.
one has a better image than the other for specific censusi.
Right. And again, then it comes down to quality. And if Family Search doesn't have the quality, then you may be forced to have to use the other one. So it may be a case-to-case basis. Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh,
Talk about
I
it all
think
day.
we're going to call that a wrap, folks. At least we're going to stop recording, and if I can remember how to do that. Oh, there it is, right there. It says
there it
pause,
is.
stop recording.
And thanks
Stop
again for
recording.
joining everybody watching online. Just letting them know.